midterm test. How are you going to get ready? Well, you should read the lecture outlines, those ones I posted, my lecture notes, as well as the notes you took during lectures. Hopefully you attended lectures and you took notes, because I do tend to give out a lot of exam hints during the lectures. Hopefully you'll do the assigned readings from the textbook. They're all important, but if I had to choose one, and only one because I was really short on time, I would choose the one from today, the biosphere and the ecosphere, because I did not cover in detail all the things that are testable. Review carefully all the concepts discussed in class. Concepts related to minerals, rocks, plate tectonics, and that. Make sure you understand the concepts. I don't like to test people on rote memorization of numbers. I want to see that you understand those concepts, that you can apply them. Check all the words you're not familiar with. Look up any definitions, atoms, neutrons, this kind of thing. Definitions make great multiple choice questions, and that is a bit of memory work, but you're also going to need to know those definitions so that you can properly describe the concepts we're asking about too. So if there's something you're not quite sure on, look it up. So, online I posted a sample midterm test. You can go through it as many times as you want to. You should take between 30 and 37 minutes to do that, because you'll have the same number of multiple choice questions on your midterm test, and that is how much time you should dedicate to it based on the marks. So between 30 and 37 minutes. If you're spending more than that, you need to study more because you're not ready. I'm not saying that those exact questions are going to be on your test, but they are kind of representative of some of the questions we've seen on previous tests. So your midterm test is divided up into two sections. The first section is 30 multiple choice questions. Multiple choice questions can be questions like this, or they can be true and false, or they can include diagrams. I could put a diagram in and give you selections A, B, C, D, and E, and you choose which one best describes the diagram. So multiple choice are really variable questions. They should take you approximately a minute each, on average. So an example of a multiple choice question here that I've seen on previous tests, pyrite is. So you can choose A, that pyrite's a protozoan, B, it's a rock, C, it's a greenhouse gas, or D, it's a mineral. That's a straight memory question. The age of the Earth is approximately 110 million, 2.5 billion, 4.6 billion, or 7.8 billion. That is probably one of the only questions I would actually expect you to really know the answer. That and stuff from the geologic timescale, as I mentioned in lecture 1. More of them. The Hawaiian volcanoes are related to. Are the Hawaiian volcanoes part of a divergent plate boundary, a hot spot, a transform fault, or a convergent plate boundary? Which of the following terms is not used as a taxonomic unit of classification? Family, group, order, or class. One of those is not in that taxonomic list I told you to remember. Some examples of short answer questions that I've seen on previous tests. Draw and explain the vertical profile of the concentration of aerosols in the atmosphere. We didn't really go into that, but I would expect you to be able to give me a vertical profile of the atmosphere with the descriptions that we did just go through. List the types of lithospheric plate boundaries and give an example of each type. So be really careful with this question. One year, I asked for the different types of convergent plate boundaries, and a lot of people mistakenly said divergent, convergent, and transform. Well, that's not right, because I asked for the convergent plate boundaries. In this question, I'm only asking for the lithospheric plate boundaries, so those answers would be correct. But you've really got to watch for little words like that, because it can cost you a lot of marks to miss one word in the question. Include sketches in your description. I like sketches, I like diagrams. You're definitely going to see sketches and diagrams on your midterm. Explain the Chapman cycle of ozone production and destruction. Include formulas and words or in the chemical notation. In which layer of the atmosphere does this cycle occur, and what would happen if the third reaction of the cycle were not occurring? This is something that I find more appropriate to the final exam, because we're going to discuss more about the ozone layer in a later lecture. I would not put this question on to your test this time. These are just examples I took from other professors that have done the course. One question that I have used before: choose one terrestrial and one aquatic biome of your choice and describe them in detail. Include things like location, climate, soil, plants, and animals for terrestrial biomes. Remember, we went through the tundra example. Include location, climate, physical setting, plants, animals, and importance for aquatic biomes, such as the coral reef one we went through. Sometimes I ask this question with one of each. Sometimes I say, give me 2 terrestrials or 2 aquatics. Some variation on that, so do read it in the textbook. For multiple choice questions, these types of details could be requested for any specific biomes. I may not give you a choice in a multiple choice type question. I would have to pick one, and you'd be expected to cough up the details on that. So, good luck. If you have any questions, please use the bulletin board. I really apologize that my office hours and the lecture were canceled for today due to the flight problems with the weather. But please use the bulletin board. I'm really, really fond of using the bulletin board instead of the email, because that way I only have to answer the same question once instead of 300 times. Unless it's personal. If it's a personal question, obviously you can email me. Or come to my office hours. I have office hours next Thursday before the test from 3 to 5. And the room, Earth Sciences 4095. So you all came in, or most of you came in to hand in your assignments today. So when you come into that main office, there's an elevator right outside the door. If you go up that elevator to floor number 4, I'm right outside the elevator. You can't miss it. There's only a couple of rooms right outside the elevator, and I'm one of them. It says L Tuddy on the door. I'm only there during my office hours, so don't bother showing up at other times. You're just going to bother the other students. You can only phone during office hours for the same reason. I don't take messages, and I am not around except during my office hours in the main.